Alexander VII. In the conclave of 1655 appeared a group of cardinals who pledged themselves to remain independent of personal ties and political connections. This group, called by the Spanish ambassador the Flying Squadron, did much to preserve the independence of the Church for many a conclave. On April 7th, after a long conclave, Fabio Chigi was elected. Fabio took the name Alexander VII. Fabio Chigi was born in Siena on February 13, 1599. Like Urban VIII, he wrote verse, but adopted the law as a profession. He rose to be vice-legate of Ferrara, bishop of Nardo, and apostolic visitor to Malta. He made a great reputation as a diplomat when Urban VIII sent him to Cologne as nuncio in 1639. Innocent X made him envoy to the Peace Congress at Munster in 1648, and though Fabio could accomplish little of what the Pope wanted, he so pleased Innocent that he made Fabio Secretary of State and Cardinal. Alexander VII was a sincere man, gifted with ability and endowed with piety. He tried to avoid nepotism, but he later relaxed his great strictness toward his relatives. He proved his charity when the plague hit Rome in 1656. Alexander, who had been staying at healthy Castel Gandolfo, hastened back to Rome to take personal charge of his people. He not only adopted sensible sanitary measures, but calmed the people by frequent public appearances. Alexander helped Venice and the empire in the fight against the Turks. He succeeded in prevailing upon Venice to allow the return of the Jesuits, banished for their loyalty to Paul V. His relations with young Louis XIV were not so happy. When some Corsican papal soldiers, not unprovoked, attacked the French embassy in Rome, Louis took advantage of the occasion to humiliate the Pope. Alexander was most conciliatory, but when he resisted demands which he could not in justice grant, Louis annexed Avignon and prepared to march on Rome. Poor Alexander had to give in. With the Grand Duke of Tuscany mediating, peace was signed at Pisa. Alexander also had trouble with the Jansenists. The French appealed to him for a formula of submission which the Jansenists should sign. Alexander sent them the formula, but a number of Jansenists, including the nuns of Port Royal, refused to sign it. The Pope also rebuked a few moral theologians who had advanced laxist opinions. In 1655, Alexander had received the most celebrated convert of the age, Queen Christina of Sweden. This talented daughter of Catholicism's great enemy, Gustavus Adolphus, had given up a throne for the faith. Alexander VII died on May 22, 1667. His memory is kept fresh by Bernini's magnificent colonnade, for it was Alexander who is responsible for its erection. Alexander VII, 235th Pope. Christ our King, thy kingdom come.